and welcome to Power Engineering International. I'm Dermot Williams. In this week's PEI News, Royal announces $13.4 billion fund to grow renewables in France. Serbia faces steep energy import bill following floods. Controversy for Japanese nuclear over KEPCO's secret payments. Didcot coal power plant spectacular demolition. And Ian Khan appointed Centrica chief executive. French Environment Minister Ségolène Royal has announced that around $13.4 billion is to be garnered from tax credits and low-interest loans to help grow France's energy efficiency and renewable generation capacities. Royal made her comments on French television as the cabinet continues to assess the legislation for the country's new energy law, due to commence its way through Parliament in September. The French government is attempting to reduce its dependency on nuclear power down from a present proportion of 75% to 50% in the next decade. Other goals include 32% of energy from clean sources such as wind and solar by 2030, up from about 14% in 2012. In the lead up to the law's publication, advocates of atomic power such as EDF have relied on models forecasting a significant increase in electricity demand and economic growth to justify keeping reactors running. But Royal has said she wants power consumption to decline through increased efficiency. Serbia's power generation capacity has been compromised by recent floods, and the country's government is coming to terms with the fact that it will now have to increase its energy imports just when it had planned to reduce that dependency. The RB Kolubara mine and much of the lignite used to power the nation is under 187 cubic metres of water and silt, and the Serbs are now resigned to electricity imports topping 10% of their average annual consumption during the coming winter. Coal from the mine is responsible for half of Serbia's power output on a normal basis. The state-owned power producer wants to end power imports by 2015 through upgrades and new capacity. However, the flooding is a grave setback, with total damage to the power industry set at $663 million, including lost revenue, according to a report by the European Union this week. Kimori Naito, the former vice president of Kansai Electric Power Company, a leading provider of nuclear power, has admitted to secretly paying 7 of Japan's prime ministers about $200,000 on an annual basis for 18 years, during the 70s and 80s. Naito told Japan's leading newspaper he felt obliged to come clean about the relationship between the company and government following mishandling of the Fukushima incident. The latest revelations have added fresh impetus for opponents of nuclear within Japan to have nuclear energy banned entirely. In a recently revised plan, the government called for efforts to promote reactivation of nuclear reactors. Currently, nuclear is responsible for 30% of Japan's electrical power. Didcot A power station in England was spectacularly removed from the Oxfordshire skyline on Sunday. The enormous structure stood at Didcot since 1968, when it was constructed for £104 million. The 3 southern towers were brought down in seconds by more than 180 kilograms of explosives. The coal-fired power station, run by RWE and Power, ceased generating power in March last year, but the neighbouring gas-fired Didcot B is still in operation at that location.
Firing now. All sentries, please maintain your positions.
Centrica has officially appointed Ian Khan as its new chief executive. Mr. Khan will leave his role as chief executive of BP's refining and marketing division to replace Sam Laidlaw, who steps down at the end of the year. Mr. Khan departs his previous role after 7 years running BP's customers-facing activities in the fuels, lubricants and petrochemical sectors. Earlier this week, Con's predecessor Laidlaw was critical of the place of offshore wind in the UK's energy mix and called for a more affordable pathway to a lower carbon future. Over on LinkedIn right now, we are hosting a discussion on the World Bank's contribution to what will be the world's largest hydroelectric power plant in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But that's all from Power Engineering International Newscast this week. We look forward to bringing you more news from the global power sector next week.